A section of farmers had opposed certain snippets of the report, urging the president to freeze its gazettement until farmers' views were incorporated into the report. Laura Otieno is giving us more details. Laura, do you know some of those things that the farmers want incorporated in that report that was already been handed over to the president?
Well, indeed, Zinzi, the farmers are complaining that their views were not adequately captured, and the contentious issue of zoning, the farmers are arguing that it has been reintroduced into the report, and zoning was one of the methods that the government was floating as the most sure, probable way to revive the 5 beleaguered sugar mills, which had been grappled with uncertainty, and some of them having to halt crushing operations intermittently due to lack of the raw material, which is sugarcane. Most of the public sugar mills had been growing their cane in clusters, but then they're also heavily depending on farmers' associations to deliver the cane to them. And so what the report had basically introduced was that farmers were to be clustered into regional zones, and they were to be restricted to be supplying their cane to particular millers, so that continuity is ensured in terms of milling activities of public mills. But then farmers have been arguing consistently over the meetings that they were having across last year, arguing that they want a free market for their produce. But then that is one of the most contentious issues. But then there have been a raft of concerns that they're raising in terms of their views not being captured in that particular report. So I'll speak to some of them. Kindly welcome to Citizen TV. Start with your name and tell us. The report has already been handed over to the president. What exactly would you want changed in that report?
What we want changed in that report is the issue of farmers' representation. Initially, as members of the Kenya National Alliance of Sugarcane Farmers Organizations, we disputed the formation of the initial task force, that it had no farmers' representation. That was not taken into account. The recommendations were done without taking into consideration farmers' concerns. Now that same people are going to be implementers, without farmers' concern, we demand that farmers be represented even in implementation. But more importantly, are the omissions. Farmers said no zoning. Now, in the report, they are telling us regional catchment zones. And regional catchment zones to us as NASFO amount to slavery of farmers. Farmers, we believe, are free to sell their produce as any other traders in this country. We do not understand why, farmers from Brazil should sell their sugar in Kenya, and farmers in Kenya cannot be allowed to sell their sugar anywhere. I think this is a new constitution. It's new slavery, which we are saying no to. The issue of free market is something that the constitution provides for. Protection of people's property and rights to trade, freedom of movement. When they say regional catchment zones, which we're calling slavery, did they consult the IEBC to demarcate the boundaries of why Saul Busolo should not sell his cane in Nyando, or why our brothers in Nyando should not sell their cane to Sony, or why our brother farmers from Sony should not sell their cane in Nyando? These are issues that we are majorly concerned with. Okay, you have a heavy report. I think you'll give us the details later. Let me speak to another farmer. The report is already at the president's table. Now, what is the way forward? How do you intend to push this conversation?
The problem is, the farmers of this country know the president is called Uhuru Kenyatta, and the farmers of this country, sugarcane farmers, know they are free. Wako huru. And it's unfortunate that Governor Paranya wants to do what we call modern-day slavery. We must be very clear on who is shackling us. Now, this report is very, very shallow. You read it. It's very shallow. It has things that cannot be implemented. Anything that farmers said have not been taken into consideration. It has a lot of false allegations. There was no public participation in Chemelil. Most importantly, it doesn't tackle the real issues. I mean, does a briefcase importer have more rights in this country than the sugarcane farmer of this country? But who are the real players behind the doctoring of this report? Because this is a doctored report. We had a validation process which was very clear on certain issues, which has been completely ignored. There are forces here who are intent on enslaving the farmers of this country, the sugarcane farmers of this country. Where is there no zoning in tea? Why is there no zoning in milk? Why is there no zoning in coffee? What is so special in sugar that the farmer must be restricted? Are we going to be restricted to certain factories that don't pay us, or who pay us when they want, or who some of them in Nyando here, we know their way bridges are tampered with, and we know, and they want to remain super factories and kill all others and kill competition. What then happens to the farmer? Is Oparanya telling us the way he uprooted his cane, we should also uproot ours? Yeah, because he has admitted publicly that because of the failure of Mumias, he uprooted his cane. We are telling him we are going to fight all the way, and we are not going to uproot cane.
Okay.
It is either he shapes up and carries the demands of farmers, or tutakutana mundu humundu. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me speak to one last farmer on your general sentiments about the task force report.
Now, first of all, my name is Jekonia Oyo. I am the current chairman of the Kenya National Federation of Farmers. Juma, we took him to court, and then later on, they withdrew, which means they were defeated, together with Washua. To add on top of what my brothers, fellow farmers have said, we know the report has been submitted to President Uhuru Kenyatta, the task force report. And farmers did not have proper representation. Farmers were only represented by Francis Washua, who went around and saw what the farmers wanted. It is very true that farmers were for no zoning. They wanted free marketing for cane. Right now, the report which has gone to the president's office is regional and zoning. We want free marketing.
Okay.
And Washua, we are going to discipline him because...
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think your issues have been captured very clearly, talking about no zoning. So we are waiting to see how the conversation will be shaping up in the coming months in terms of the implementation of the task force report and what the farmers, or rather how the farmers will be handling that implementation, remembering that the government is keen on increasing sugar production to meet the current deficit that is witnessed in the country and to improve the general welfare of farmers across the country. Nyanza.